Dust off the Jeep. It's time for some fun as we join the Lone Peak 4x4 Club for a one-of-a-kind ride from Enterprise to Pine Valley.
Then the AYL crew is keeping the theme of full-size rides alive as they venture out to a great Jeep trail outside of Moab in hopes of striking it rich on the Golden Spike Trail.
Finally, Reese and Marianne Stein are showing off a unique project that is close to home and poised to be a great wetlands park. It's all headed your way now. At Your Leisure is next. Back in a second, guys. Hey, there you are. Welcome to At Your Leisure. I'm Chad Booth.
And I'm Ria Rossi Booth.
And we are out at an oasis, which is the place people tended to live back when the pioneers settled this area. They looked for water and built homes there.
Yep, we're right outside Enterprise, Utah, just in Washington County area here. And I'm telling you, this is a wonderful trail. It's long, it's gravel, but it's not difficult. It's great for like newbies.
This is the perfect trail to get your feet wet on. Grab your kids, grab your parents, whatever, because there is so much history along this route. Everywhere you turn, there's another little piece of history, and we're going to share some of that with you today.
Yeah, there's a big old piece of history looking at us right now.
This is an amazing place. It's called the Page Ranch House. The property's still privately owned, and it's still in the family. But it was homesteaded in 1858, and the daughter married the rich miner that was mining iron ore on the other side, and they came over here and replaced the old log cabin with this beautiful Victorian house.
Yeah, this is amazing history.
In fact, the architectural style of this house is so rare that you'll hardly see any of them in Utah.
Yeah, there's lots of rare sights on this trail. Let's go learn a little bit more about them.
What's really fun about this ride, we've never been in this area before, and so we didn't know what to expect.
Well, and first of all, we thought of, Enterprise in northern Utah, and of course it wasn't that. It was west of Cedar City, and so it's like, oh, okay, I wonder what's out there. But it turned out to be really, really beautiful.
I thought it was really surprising to see the variety of the plants and the mountains there. Had no idea that such a place existed because we're used to the Wasatch Front. I think one of the places that really impressed me more than anything was going into the Pine Valley area. Beautiful place, just unbelievably beautiful. One thing about riding with our Jeep Club is it kind of recharges our batteries every month, because we go out every month on some trail somewhere, and it's just really fun to go out with the group and see different things. And we do a lot of historical type riding.
Yes, in fact, this spring we printed a brand new sticker that we just love, and it's in the shape of a heart, and it's blue, and it says Dirt Road Therapy, LP4W. So yeah, it's therapy.
The Southwest is dotted with old historic home sites. This one is called the Hamlin Homestead.
Yeah, so do you know anything about this? Because I don't.
Neither do I. Somebody took the sign.
Shame! Like 100 years ago.
Well,
Look how old that sign is.
Yeah, maybe they're just updating it. They found some new historical data, and so
but isn't this
they'll bring
cool?
it back. It is.
Look at that. This is really cool.
I like what they've done, because they've taken implements that were left behind at the homestead when they built the monument and said, it's kind of like show and tell in cement.
Right, it is. They just like mushed it all in there.
Anyway, we're going to get back up on the trail. We've got some more stuff to show you right now. It's time to go to our where to.
The state of Utah has endless opportunities for jeeping and rock crawling. The Red Rocks of Moab are the gold standard for people who want to push their machines and their driving skills to the limit. And one of the best routes to test your mettle on is the Golden Spike Trail.
It's a combination of about 3 trails. It's the highlight of the Jeep Safari. You get to do where Eagles Dare, a little bit of Poison Spider, a little bit of Golden Spike, and Gold Bar Rim. So it's the best of all the trails.
I think it's fantastic. It's a step harder than many of the trails that we've tried in the past, and we weren't sure what to expect, but I'll tell you what, it's been filling the bill. It's definitely been great.
I think it's cool to be able to watch all the Jeeps going every which way, because you'll be going along where you're going, and you'll look over to your left or right, and you'll see some Jeep up climbing some hill off in the distance, and you're like, whoa, that Jeep's all the way up in the sky, and you're like, that's really where I'm headed, and yeah, it's fun. Being in the Jeep, it's like a roller coaster ride, you know, going up, down, left, right, all sorts of ways. It's a fun trail. It's been a little crazy in a few parts. I don't know what else to expect later down the line, but I'm excited for whatever's coming.
It's a blast. I love it. I'm glad I'm back.
It's been really cool because the very beginning we were on Poison Spider, and when we first did Poison Spider 5-6 years ago with our group, they had to like coach us on everything, and today it was like, you just go right up it. And I was like, whoa, sweetie, you're doing so awesome, oh my gosh. So yeah, but it's cool to see how far my husband's gotten in his Jeeping skills too.
Jeeping is a methodical, slow-moving, and hair-raising activity. Just like rock climbers love solving problems and overcoming obstacles, so do Jeepers. In Moab, they find some of the most interesting and challenging obstacles around.
Nothing is ever the same in the challenges, in all the obstacles. So it always keeps you on your toes, and it makes you better as a driver overall. It's a lot of fun, gets you out here in the fresh air, out in nature.
It makes you feel exhilarated, you know, I did it, so that's what it's all about.
Oh, it makes you feel great. Your adrenaline's pumping, you know, you're shaking around in the Jeep, and sometimes they're cheering for you, other times there's nobody around, but I mean, it feels great knowing that you conquered what was in front of you.
It's that sense of accomplishment which draws people to 4x4s. Once you clear one obstacle, you're immediately looking for the next one. It's important to know your limits, but it's also important to test those limits. There are many different trails for many different skill levels, so it's easy to start slow and small, and eventually work your way up to more advanced obstacles. And while it's tempting to hop in your machine to forge out on your own, Jeeping really is a team sport.
Definitely start off going in a group first. Don't try winging it by yourself, and then, you know, just have a good time. Take lots of pictures. It's fun to look back on them, because you can't access this in your typical vehicle. So you definitely need a Jeep, something to crawl around in to see this beautiful country.
Absolutely, looking forward to coming as many years in a row as we can.
Look forward to it because it's going to be a blast.
Go ahead and go for it, you know, find a trail, find a group that you're comfortable with, and go for it. Like, you're gonna enjoy it.
Find some friends who want to do it and just get started. Jeep community is very friendly and we welcome all kinds, so come on, join us.
From Moab, with this week's Where To, I'm Will Oxley.
This week's What's New is brought to you by TuneX. Got a vintage vehicle? We've got your repair. Tune-ups, carburation, points, condenser, we do it all.
Welcome back to At Your Leisure. I'm Kurt with Slick Rock Productions. And one of the things that I would like to talk about is expectations when it comes to aftermarket parts, because we test a lot of parts and it's hard on things. We are not biased against who we do business with, and everybody that we do business with knows that. We make it very clear we're going to run a variety of parts, and we're going to give recommendations that we feel comfortable in putting our name behind. So we build really big, crazy cars. Most of our cars are 35 to 42-inch tires. They're big, they're really heavy, and we break a lot of stuff because of the size of our cars. Plus, we rock crawl really hard. We never talk poorly about a company out there. If we get parts from a company and we feel like they're insufficient or they don't hold up, we try to work with them to make better parts, but we never talk bad about them. We just really highlight the good stuff. There's enough drama in this world without getting involved in all that. We just want to highlight good companies that stand behind their products, so all of us out here aren't wasting our money. We're really abusive on things, but The failures that we have is the education that we get. We get to learn what parts play well together, what holds up better. Not everything works together in the aftermarket world. A lot of times when you're mixing and matching stuff, it doesn't work out very well, and it takes a lot of fabrication. But all that knowledge that we've acquired over the years, we try to spread out to the public as much as we can, so it's easier for everybody else, so they're not making the same mistakes we made. One of the biggest pet peeves I have is a lot of people will break something and then they're upset with the manufacturer. But we have to be realistic as well. These cars are plastic, they're not very big. They come with 25, 26, up to a 32-inch tire. And we all run big aftermarket tires. We put a lot of accessories on them, we add a lot of weight to them, and we drive hard. And I know a lot of people out there drive hard. Manufacturers make parts that are a little better on OEM. That's kind of where it stands. It's OEM replacement parts. So when you're building great big cars, or you're rock crawling or driving really aggressive and you're breaking stuff, expectations in what you're building is really important. Now, over the years, we've found a lot of parts that work really well together, a lot of things that hold up. Some things hold up better than others. There's a lot of great innovative people out there. They have a lot of great ideas. But in this world and the way social media works and the way advertising works, it's branding is everything. So when we find something we like, we help push them and we help get them off the ground, and we use the parts, we say their names, we give recommendations. So, maybe some companies don't have a big reach out there, but they have a great product. We want to try to help those companies. We answer a lot of questions. You can reach out to us on all of our social media platforms, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. We try to get back with everybody. There are parts that are better than others, but we have to be realistic. And we'll talk to you, we'll talk about your budget, your riding style, the kind of cars you're building. We'll try to find the best fit for you, for something you'll be happy with, so you spend your money one time. We'll be right back with At Your Leisure.
Hey, this look familiar?
Yeah, this looks like an exact replica of the one that's over in This Is the Place State Park over in Salt Lake.
No, that one is the replica.
That's the replica. This is the originality.
That's right. Welcome back to At Your Leisure. We are on our excursion out of Enterprise, Utah, exploring the mountains to the south and the east, which has brought us to Pine Valley.
What a magnificent little town. It's filled with pines and green and this beautiful little chapel, Pine Valley Ward Chapel, and that says erected 1868. So, that is a long time ago.
So at least for the next year and a half until they build a new ward up in this area, this is the oldest nonstop functioning ward house in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints system. It has been a ward for 154 years.
So this is functioning. People who live here come to church here on Sundays, and visitors can come to church here on Sundays.
Finally, a place that's older than I am.
Honey, no. You definitely, you know what, but seriously, this place is so gorgeous, just the property alone, but the inside is amazing as well.
And there's so many stories that really show pioneer ingenuity and spirit in building it. Come on, let's take a tour.
Yeah.
They wanted the New England look because most of them had all just come from the east, where they had these pretty little New England chapels. Some of the old timers that I used to know that have passed on said one of the hardest things they had to do was match the arch of the stage with the arch of the ceiling. Ebenezer Bryce was a shipwright. When they talked him into actually building it, he said, well, I have to build it like a ship. And so if you look at the curvature of the chapel ceiling, it's the curvature that you would find in the bottom of a sailing ship, except upside down, of course. They talk a lot about the beauty of the valley. And then the chapel itself, it's a shock to a lot of people to walk in here and see this beautiful little New England chapel at this age still being used every Sunday.
This is a picture that visitors don't get to see, but we pulled some strings for you. Take a look at the attic of the Pine Valley Chapel, and you can see that shipbuilder influence. If you look down along what would be the floor under the catway, that's the shape of a boat hull. And it's really remarkable to see from the attic. Look at the size of those timbers. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I mean, the craftsmanship was phenomenal, and the way they restored it, really, this has really been an unbelievable treat to come up here and see this. It's a beautiful, beautiful chapel.
It is. Just on the other side of the wall, they have a history room also. This is a place that you're going to want to make note of right now. And they have a complete history of the early settlers and the development of the leaders of the ward, the group, the branch, everything.
Yep.
So there's a chronology, I would call this the chronology room here.
Totally. And all these folks just like, they put their heart and soul and everything into this beautiful little chapel. And it's just, it feels like it when you come in here. It's just a beautiful, peaceful place.
It is. And we put a lot of heart and soul in what's next. It's off to our Along the Way for this week.
I'm Reese Stein at your leisure along the way in West Jordan at what will soon become one of the largest wildlife wetland parks along the Jordan River. Hikers and bikers on the Jordan River Parkway may wonder what's happening with the undeveloped land on the other side of the fence. It's the genesis of a 70-acre park emerging from the industrial wasteland of the since demolished Sharon Steel plant.
In 1998, folks decided this was an important place to restore, and here we are today. How many years?
It's been a long time getting this far, and still a long way to the finish line for West Jordan's Big Bend habitat. Step one is the fishing pond along the west side of the park near the Parkway Trail.
So this pond is kind of the centerpiece of the nature park portion of the site.
The pond, which may be open to fishing next spring, will be stocked by the Utah Division of Wildlife, part of its growing urban fisheries program.
Their strategy is that we want to give people the opportunity to fish without having to go to Provo or go to the Weber River. And so that brings fishing to people who live in these communities.
The pond is now a haven for any number of migrating and native birds, including these pelicans and cormorants. Canada geese use the place as a protective nursery for their broods, as do the ducks. It's an important place for the birds.
And it's like a funnel. And so without areas of open space and habitat like this, there's nowhere for the birds to go. So this is a stopping place. And then we also have a lot of nesting birds that come here, and we're trying to increase the area of habitat where they can nest.
Deer and other mammals, including at least one family of foxes, have already moved into the area. The next step is to turn this once industrial dump into a flourishing garden. Crews are spraying herbicides on the weeds that dominate the habitat. And students from the itinerant high school are hard at work pulling the thistles.
Today, they culminated their school year by coming out and working on some community service and doing support of the conservation in here. We really try to teach our students to be civically minded and engaged in their community. They're working hard.
Other unwanted invasive plants, such as Russian olive, tamarask, and phragmites, are being replaced with desirable trees.
And so we're trying to get this broad cottonwood forest to go across the horizon. Right now there's 2.5 acres of cottonwoods. We hope to have 30 acres of cottonwoods. Birds, plants, and water. That's the main thing. And how those work together equals the management and what happens on the ground.
The channelized Jordan River with its steep eroding banks will be rerouted with gentle meanders and gradual banks through the center of the property.
It's just like a chute. And so what we're trying to do is give the floodplain more space, so when it does flood, the river has more space to go, but then also meander the river a little bit more so it's not just a straight chute through.
The site is still a long way from being finished, but the pond should be accessible by next spring.
This whole site is really all about connect many intersecting communities, giving them a place to connect with nature, connect with each other, learn from each other, teach each other, and care for this place going forward.
Reese Stein at your leisure along the way at the future Big Bend Park in West Jordan.
Welcome back to At Your Leisure. We have arrived at Pine Valley with our friends from the Lone Peak 4-Wheel Drive Club. Been out doing this beautiful historical ride, And what a great way to end. We're at a place called the Branding Iron.
Yeah.
And it's like the restaurant in town, and it's open some of the time, but it's worth getting in line for, so you are here to enjoy the food. Look at this stuff.
No, it's fantastic. I mean, look at this bad boy I got here, this ribeye. It's cool because it's called the Branding Iron because it actually has my initials branded into the steak right there. Can you see that? Yeah,
okay,
RB,
RB.
yeah.
All right, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll go along. I'll pretend.
But no, this is just a great little eating establishment. The view is phenomenal. It's
And just
beautiful.
look at the variety of things there are to order. They've got salads
Yeah.
with steak. They've got chicken strips,
Yep.
burgers. I'm not going to be able to put my mouth around that.
I'll help you do that, honey. I'll help you eat that.
Okay.
Anyway, don't go away because we're going to go take a look at next week's show.
Next week, Ria and I are hoping to win big as we get the Stedman's Yamaha Wolverine out to Eureka to participate in their 16th annual poker run.
Then Terry and Susan Wood are showing off a great getaway for some excellent fishing, hiking, and biking as they take you to the resort at Big Rock Candy Mountain.
Finally, we're getting an inside look at another legend of the trail as we find out how Nolan Stedman got his start in the OHV industry and engineered his family business into one of the top dealers in the state. Now, let's take a look at this week's contest winner.
This week's contest winner was spotted on our recent ride out to Delta, and his license plate number is W62DY, and it looks like he is the lucky winner of an outdoor stove from Camp Chef.
Camp Chef offers the best way to get your cooking done in the outdoors. Visit campchef.com for more info.
And be sure to call us on Monday at 801-947-8888 to claim your prize.
Well, we sure want to thank you for joining us today on At Your Leisure. We've just had a blast exploring out of Enterprise, Utah, and you just never know where you'll end up, like in neighboring communities like Pine Valley. It's just beautiful country down here, and there's just so many amenities to back you up for a trip.
Oh yeah, this is amazing. This restaurant was fantastic. The Branding Iron, the people here, the scenery. I mean, it is just a beautiful. Don't you just wish you just lived here?
I have always wished that I lived right out here.
Well, maybe your husband will move here for you.
And it's even more fun with all y'all.
all y'all. Anyway, it's been made most fun today because we were with our friends from Lone Peak. Lone Peak Four Wheelers is a great club to get out and explore. They love historical stuff.
Oh yeah.
They're just a great club to get your feet wet with in four-wheeling.
You can catch them on Facebook if you want to join the club. They're great.
All right, as we say, there's adventure around every bend.
Just got to get out there and create your own adventure
at your leisure. All right, who needs to take a nap before we go home?
I do. Not while I'm driving.